Thank you very much. It seems the stage is becoming very comfortable. About 6 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to introduce about 8 of the presenters at TEDx, so it's very exciting. As I was walking up here this morning and I saw all the activity out on the street, and I thought back about TEDx and all the events and all the process and all the things that have been happening in this community, I said to myself, wow. I said, right here, right now, isn't this the most incredible place to be in the world? I mean, come on. I mean, it really is. I sometimes think I'm going to start vibrating all the activity and all the things that are happening. This is really just an incredibly great community. A week ago, I guess, I got an email and someone asked me if I would, and I'd signed up for this event when I first got the email, and somebody said, would you mind introducing Doug Burgum at this event? And I said, oh, sure, emailed right back. And I got done, and I leaned my chair back, and I'm saying, I'm going to introduce Doug Burgum. Everybody in the audience knows it. I'm going to read his resume, or, you know, how do I do this? So I said, well, maybe I can ask for permission to do a little bit unconventional introduction and tie some thoughts into that process. And so they were kind enough to allow me to do that. So if you'll bear with me for just a couple minutes. So I guess it starts in Arthur, North Dakota. And Doug's getting ready to come to the big city to go to college. And you know, I know that he has said that he remembers his mom talking quite a bit about Fargo and downtown Fargo and what an incredible place that it was as she was growing up, and how exciting it was. When Doug came to college in the 1970s, downtown Fargo didn't quite look like that. Neither did a lot of communities around the country. So, but he came to the north side, went to NDSU, and as he went through that process and doing great things at the university and making a commitment that he has maintained not only as a student but as an alumni and a benefactor over the years, he took time out and he went and traveled. You know, I'm not real sure. Maybe he was trying to tilt some windmills or something, but they shared this picture with me as he's hitchhiking up to Alaska. I don't know Doug that well, but the hat is a little, well, no. So would you pick him up? But it was a time that transition was going on, and foundations were being made, and searches were being made, and questions were being answered. And when his NDSU days were done, there was a calling, you know, like all good men, come to the West. Come to the mecca of technology, and he did. But he came back. He came back to start a software development firm that everybody in this room knows about, knows the history and knows what happens. But as that company kept growing and they needed a bigger opportunity to house all of their employees, you know, this is when that strategic thinker, the person that really is looking at things maybe outside of the box, looked to South Fargo and imagine that there could be a facility that was beautiful and in the plains mentality where he grew up in Arthur. And lo and behold, we have the Great Plains facility in South Fargo, and now it's the 3rd largest campus in Microsoft, one of the largest corporations in the world, and we're blessed. But it's that insight and looking at something. And how many people, I don't know, I've only been here for a year and a half, so these are new things for me. How many businesses were on the other side of I-94 when that was built? What's it look like now? It's dynamic. It's incredible. But that's what you need. You need that foresight. You need that being able to look and see that not everybody else sees. So Microsoft comes, he has a couple dollars, puts it in his pocket. He doesn't leave. He stays here in Fargo. And he heads back east, downtown, to the core, to that memory in his mind of his mom, talking about how great Fargo was. That's pretty cool. It's always there. It's the process. And when you come to the core, what does that mean? It is the core. It's the foundation. For any community, if you look around, those strong cities and the strong municipalities that are across the country, small, large, medium, whatever, they have dynamic cores. It gives strength to the people who lives here. It tells people that are outside that there's something special going on here. We are in a transformation. We are in a process that is going to define this region for generations to come. And it's leadership and insightful leadership and process and a dream and a voice in the back that will make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Doug Berger.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Mike. And thank all of you for being here today. What an exciting day. I'm glad that all of you were able to make it down here through the ESPN work. I want to just turn the house lights up for a second, and a couple people I want to thank. Like Jim said, things are vibrating here, but we got a couple of people that made some exciting stuff happen. So I want to thank, I know he's in the audience, Dean Bershani, president of NDSU, and Mayor Wallaker. Thank you guys both for getting ESPN to Fargo. Woo! Didn't know that was still up. We can move on from that. And by the way, I like that hat, Jim. I did like that. So the thank you, as Mike said, I want to reiterate that, not only thanking all the people that made Loretta possible, but I want to thank all of you that are here today, because if you're here today, you deserve not just a thank you, but also a congratulations, because if you're here, you're part of this active community that's engaging in thinking about how do we apply design thinking? How do we think about creating a better place to live? How do we think about a better place to build businesses? How do we think about a better place for our children? How do we think about a better place for ourselves to be successful as a community in a highly competitive world? We begin today with a lot of gratitude. My gratitude is one of the things that really drives my thinking. But if you start big, I mean, the first thing we can be grateful is that we're living on planet Earth. This is a place that's actually hospitable to human life, so that's a good thing for starters. Not every place in the universe is, so if you were born here, that's a good thing. You weren't fried instantly upon stepping out into the world. But within that, we've got the world that we're in spite of what you might hear, right now there's a lot of reason for great optimism on the planet, because the planet right now is moving forward at a rate that it hasn't ever in its history. And in the last 20 years, nearly 1 billion people have risen out of poverty. This has happened because of the mechanisms of free markets, innovation, technology, communication, a lot of things that are causing good ideas to spread quickly. And through that outreach and through that evolution of markets, the world is really a rapidly evolving place for the better. And we have a lot of gratitude about being in North Dakota. North Dakota is a place that's also blessed. There was a time in my lifetime where people thought that North Dakota was a sort of a godforsaken location, and who would want to live there. I think that showed up in the numbers. In the year 2000, we were the only state out of all 50 states that had a lower population than 1930. So we were those of us that, those of you that were here and those that were hanging in there through all that time lived through some lean years, but through a combination of the bestowed gifts that we have from our land, the soil itself, the energy below it, the water, but most specifically the people that are here have helped turn this into an amazing place. And so right now we are finding ourselves an economic engine that is the envy of the world, with really, as a location, some of the lowest unemployment on the planet, and some of the strongest economy and the strongest growth. And it's from this platform of gratitude and this platform of success, we have to change our mindset to think about, how do we live in a world where we have abundance as opposed to in a world where we've got scarcity. And that mindset allows us to dream bigger and think of bigger things, and really, really create some amazing elements. So in terms of the Kilbourne Group, we think of ourselves, and our vision is to be a catalyst for inspiration and action for vibrant downtown communities. And there's these two words, inspiration and action. One is the inspiration is we want to do projects that inspire others to reach higher and do great things. We want to, as just a citizen, and as taxpayers, we want to have a point of view about design, and we have a point of view, as all citizens have the right to in the great democracy that we live in, have a point of view about how civic dollars could and should be spent. And so we enjoy having that, but we also like the action part. We don't just want to be a think tank or a source of opinions. We want to be a do tank. And so then we do projects, including multi-use and infill and historic renovation and new construction and stuff that involves collaboration with a number of nonprofit organizations, because we want to do all those things, because doing stuff is fun, but it also then adds back to the cycle of inspiration for others. And as we do those projects, we do them with respect for the past, gratitude for the present, and inspiration for the future, with one goal in mind, and that goal is to create unique spaces in between and spaces that are in them, and unique experiences in downtown Fargo. That's what we want to do. That's what, as an organization, we're trying to do. And you might say, okay, well, that's cool, but why does a vibrant downtown matter, other than it's just cool and, hey, it's a fun place to go? Well, again, we operate the Kilbourne Group from two lenses. One is from an economic lens, and the other is from a design lens. And I want to spend a minute on the economic side, which is the importance of having a vibrant downtown core is because it turns out that a vibrant downtown core is key to having an economically competitive metro area. And if you're going to say, okay, what does that mean in terms of economically competitive? Well, in a world where the economy is running strong, in a world today where it's my understanding that there are 6,000 job openings in Cass and Clay County. This is a number that we share along with all of the job openings across North Dakota with a great sense of pride, because, hey, look at the demand for jobs. We have all these jobs, people should move here. But it turns out that if we have 6,000 job openings in Cass and Clay County that are unfilled, that means that we are missing an opportunity as a broad community, as a metro area, to operate at our full potential. Think if there were 6,000 more people here today who had moved here and were filling those jobs and were buying homes and renting apartments and going out to dinner and having their kids involved in schools and doing all that. That's like another almost mid-sized North Dakota city that we would have just in terms of job openings right here. So it turns out, if you want to be economically competitive as a city, then the thing that you have to do is you have to attract and retain talented people. And in our discussions, and I know this from personal experience, whether it was at Great Plains or Microsoft, or talking to the executives at Sanford or Essentia, or at NDSU, where they're trying to recruit professors, Sanford and Essentia recruiting doctors, small startup companies that Arthur Ventures is involved with, where we're trying to recruit software engineers to come work here. Everybody is saying, hey, it's a challenge because of the tight economy to find the great people. We want to attract and retain people. If we get a good candidate and they're not from this market, they're someone that's moving to this market, we want to get them excited, not just about the job, we want to get them excited about living here in this community with their family. And so guess what those organizations do when they're trying to recruit someone? I'll give you a multiple choice. A, do they take them out to dinner at Applebee's and drive them around near the mall? Or B, do they take them out downtown to one of the fine restaurants down here and go look at the vibrant downtown community we have? Raise your hand if you think it's A. Raise your hand if you think it's B. It turns out, and this is, again, it's fabulous that we've got one of the best malls in the country. It's fabulous that we're a community that's of a size where we can attract big market, big box retailers like Costco and others, and the employment they bring and the low cost goods they bring. But those are the tickets to play for a community our size. That is not a point of differentiation for us to have big box retailers and have suburban tract homes, because every community has those. The way you differentiate yourself and the way a city wins is that you have something that is unique and special to your community. And it turns out that virtually every community, from the size of New York City down to cities smaller than Fargo, the way cities differentiate themselves is not on the homogenous edge, which is where we've got franchises which span our entire great country. It's people differentiate themselves at the core. And again, this is not, and I want to say this is a Fargo metro thing. This is for Cass and Clay County. It's for our whole region, because we all benefit when people move here. It doesn't matter where they live, what they do. We all benefit. So both sides of the river benefit when we've got a strong downtown. A couple cases in point. You might go, well, whose website is this? They're advertising Fargo Moorhead. They're showing a downtown Fargo restaurant. They're showing young people having fun. This, of course, would be one of the homepage of Concordia College recruiting, talking about the fact that there's 30,000 college students in our metro area, and wouldn't this be a great place to go to college? Then we've got the Dragons page here, and again in the lower right-hand or lower left-hand part of that, again you see a click on a link. There's downtown, picture a cruising night. Again, the universities are selling not just an education, they're selling this would be a great place to live, and this is a great college town, and that's what we need, is the influx of young people that are coming here and staying. And of course, this week, how timely, the forum asked the question on Tuesday, defined by downtown. And I have a penchant for writing long letters to the editor. I thought about writing a very short one this week that would just have one word. And because as we've just stated, it turns out, given the nature of how cities have been created in America, and given the nature of the proliferation of successful franchises, which we all seek and support, the only area left for differentiation is in the downtown cores. This is where people are defining. And it turns out the younger generation that's growing up today, that's coming out of college, the people that were born, again, whether you call them the millennials or Generation Y, but people born between 1981 and 2000, that group of people that are a key part of the workforce today and entering into the workforce, those folks are not dreaming. They're not only not dreaming about your father's Oldsmobile, they're not dreaming about a 3-car garage in the suburbs with a house attached. They're into collaborative consumption, which means they want to rent, they want to share things, they want to share automobiles, they want to share bikes. They're interested in about being connected electronically, as opposed to being separated in some ways the more dispersed suburban ecology that evolved during the groups of the people that were my age. And so there's a futurist that talks about this generation. They said they're not looking for the dream home. That was the American dream. The next generation is looking for the dream neighborhood. So we want to talk a little bit about what are those elements that make a dream a neighborhood, and why is this important to economic success and growth today. The first thing is, let's talk about demographics. It would be one thing for us to really celebrate if we were bucking a national trend, but it turns out that with all the success we've had in terms of the growth of our downtown, we are part of a bigger trend. So we have to jump on that trend and actually grow faster, if you will, than other cities that are also embracing the idea of moving to downtown. And if you look at the stat, and this is the top in the green, that was between 2010, July of 2010 and July of 2011, in a one-year period, 27 of the nation's 51 largest metropolitan areas, the city centers grew faster than the suburbs. In the previous decade, 2000 to 2010, only 5 areas metro areas, the core areas, had grown faster than the suburbs. So we're at the very beginning of the shift, and at least in the work that we're doing here in Fargo, we see it happening in kind of a double hump demographic. They call it the double hump camel in demographics, but we would say that we got 2 groups. One is we have the millennials, these, the early 20s and to 30s group that wants to live downtown in a walkable, connected neighborhood. And then we have another group, which is the baby boomers that are downsizing, people that are finding themselves to be empty nesters and are selling a home in South Fargo, maybe keeping a lake cottage. They're moving downtown. So we have 2 groups of people that want to be connected and interactive. And again, there was a model that was that we think the older demographic is also important because of this number of baby boomers in the country, but some communities are embracing this, equally embracing the young with the older generation. And there's a new name of something called a NORC, a naturally occurring retirement community, which is we know that there was lots of planned retirement communities where people said we're going to have all this housing, people 55 and older can live there, it's going to be really cool, and we'll include things like a beauty shop and a barber shop, and maybe we'll even throw in a 2-lane bowling alley. We'll have all these amenities right there, and you can be really active. Well, the other thing you can do is just move downtown. And then you've got access to all kinds of stuff. And so there are communities around the country that are marketing themselves essentially as their downtown areas, as not just for the youth and the college kids, but also as an active place for baby boomers to think about having an active retirement. And I think we're starting to see both in terms of the people that are renting and buying from Kilburn Group products. So again, we have the demographics is on our side. We want to ride that wave better than others.